My question is to the Minister for the Environment. 4 years ago, after decades of community pressure, Labor committed to 3 new national parks across the central west of Victoria. These are some of the most beautiful and precious places in our state, irreplaceable country for First Nations people and home to more than 370 rare and threatened species. Yet 4 years later, Labor has yet to legislate even one of these parks. The Minister himself said in October that the bills would be introduced in late 2024, but it's now May 2025 and we still haven't heard anything. Minister, has Labor walked away from its promise to create the Central West National Parks?
Minister for the Environment.
I thank the member for her question, and I think the form of the Greens political party is improving, because I think that's 2 questions I've received as Environment Minister in 18 months or more. One from the member for Brunswick, and now from the member for Melbourne. And I'm only putting it out there just so the public understand. There's been many question times in that period, but only 2 questions. But thank you for that question. It's an important question. And yes, we are committed. We are committed to delivering those parks that we promised in 2021. There's an enormous amount of work that goes on in order to deliver those things, in terms of survey generals, in terms of investments, in terms of the parameters of the park, what rules will apply to that national park. So we're doing all that work. But I also say to the member for Melbourne that we're not sitting on our hands, as she well knows, because we've had conversations in the past in terms of protection and preservation of these beautiful lands for future generations. We do that in every day work through Bush Bank. We do an everyday work through Trust for Nature. We do an everyday work through biodiversity investments, the Office of the Conservation Regulator. All the work we do in the environment portfolio to maintain an asset base, because it is an asset base, for future Victorians to enjoy. So this is something that we are close to finalising, and we'll come to it very soon.
Member for Bulleen. Supplementary question, member for Melbourne.
Thank you, Speaker. Thanks to the Minister for the answer. I want to underscore that the vast majority of Victorians, no matter their political allegiance, support national parks. Last October, Redbridge polling found 80% of Victorians want more national parks, only 8% oppose them. But the community is becoming concerned that Labor seems scared of creating national parks, and particularly in future national parks. For example, in 2023, the Great Outdoors Task Force was appointed to investigate and recommend new national parks in areas that were protected from native forest logging, but last year that remit was revoked. Minister, was the remit revoked because Labor is giving into a scare campaign from the Liberals and Nationals, and will you now give the Great Outdoors Task Force the remit to protect those previously logged areas in national parks?
Order. Member for Frankston. Minister for the Environment.
Thank you, Speaker. I'll say to the member for Melbourne, whether it be national parks or state forests, what this government's commitment to is Victorians, 7 million Victorians, should be able to enjoy public land in the way they want to enjoy public land. Number two, that public land is preserved for future generations of Victorians. We can do both those things. So I'm not getting into this binary conversation about national parks and state forests. Both are important for the state of Victoria, and the Great Outdoors Task Force is working on something that we created the opportunity for, which is ending native timber harvesting. Yes. So they're going around, and you don't see anyone from the Greens commending one of the only jurisdictions in Australia to end native timber harvesting. One of the only jurisdictions in Australia to end native timber harvesting. So what the Great Outdoors Task Force, there's no muzzling here. They've gone around talking to communities, understanding what they want to see in their own community, what the rest of us want to see, and that report will land on my desk next couple of months and we'll respond to it in due course.